Hey guys, this is Nooney, and I'm gonna try something new today and do replay analysis of a game I played on ladder. And this was a game where it was during a session where I was doing fun games and kind of funny strategies, but this Zerg player decided to ling rush me before I got to get into any weird builds or odd units or anything like that. So for the start of this game, it's just me doing my standard build, and if I was trying my hardest to win, this is exactly what I would have done at the point when his ling rush hits. So I'm going to go ahead and go over this just as an example of how you would hold off a ling rush. And really there are two kinds of ling rushes. There's ling rush where the lings get in earlier than you finish your block at your natural, and then there's the kind where you do finish your block and you're trying to hold it. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. It doesn't really matter. He's not going to get in. So that's the kind of game this is. But the important thing right now is to pay attention to the build specifically early on, because everything that happens up to the point when his lings come, like everything that I'm doing in my build, contributes to having the tools necessary to holding it off. And if you mess up the build earlier on, then at the time when his lings hit, you won't have everything that you need, and in the places that you need it, that kind of thing, in order to hold it off as smoothly as I do. So to open the game up, I'm a huge supporter of building these buildings at the ramp so that you can block the ramp with just one unit here. I also like getting the Zealot really early. You might know that I'm in love with the Zealot Sentry Mothership Core timing attack, so I don't really do any like early Stalker shenanigans or whatever. I get this Zealot early, and it helps me with any super early lings that could come before I even expand. Like a 6 pool on some maps, this early Zealot can block the ramp before the lings get in, and then that 6 pool is done. They didn't even get up the ramp. You would just bring over a bunch of probes and hold it off. But you do start this Zealot before the core, because there's nothing that you're going to use the core for at an earlier timing. So this core finishes in time for what you're going to use it for first, which will be the mothership core. In any case, I'm going to come out here, mineral lock the probe out here, build that, and then start the mothership core, chrono boost it, and then start warp gate research. Don't chrono boost that ever. And then start a pylon. Whoops. Great at the camera. And then you're going to start a probe right after that, chrono boost it, and then an assimilator right after that. And then just rally the new probes over there. You're going to chrono boost this again. And then this probe is going to come over here, and then at about the same time that you can afford your first sentry and your first gate, you're going to kind of build them both at once. I think you should prioritize the sentry, but oftentimes you can just kind of, it's so close that you can afford, you get 200 minerals and 100 gas like at the exact same time. So yeah, in this case I did build the sentry first, and then the gate comes right after that. And by now the gas finishes just as the third probe pops out, and you have a perfect 16 probes on minerals, 3 on each gas. And so now you're going to rally out here. You're going to build a second gate and a second sentry. It's important to get these sentries going. If you're late with these sentries, you're going to be in trouble against ling rushes. It's pretty simple. So be on top of all of this production. And even though this nexus is going to finish and give you more supply, you want to start this pylon anyway, because it's not going to slow down any of your production. You can afford the next sentry here, even with spending money on this pylon, and this is going to complete your block on almost every map. So what you want to do now is send the Zealot out, but keep the sentry here. That way, if lings run in while the units are like right here, you'll have this blocked. So if you send both out and the lings came in like right when they're here, then they'd be able to run up this ramp. you'd have to use a force field to keep them from running up the ramp, and you don't want to do that. So one at a time. And in this case, the Zealot is going to get here before the Lings get here. Just like that. So now he's going to go on hold position, and then the sentry can come out. And I'm actually really late on starting this second sentry. I should have started this second sentry already. But it's not going to end up mattering. So this is how this is going to play out. Mothership Core, of course, is positioned to get as much damage as possible. And you want to cast this force field before the Zealot dies. The like extra split second that the Zealot can hold the block is not worth the Zealot's life. Okay? I mean, ideally, it would have like 4 health or something. You'd let 3 more hits come in, reduce it to 4 health, and you'd block it. But, you know, once it's under 20 health, go ahead and use the force field and save it. And you want to cast that force field such that it splits the Zealot and the Lings away from each other. And if you can, you want to position it such that it blocks the pylon a little bit and reduces the surface area that the Lings have on that pylon. Now the sentry is building, and what's going to happen here is I'm going to get 100 energy on the Mothership Core, so I'm going to start Photon Overcharge right away and start getting that extra DPS. And if he does, whoops, I didn't mean to unpause. If he does run away right at that moment, then this is defended pretty easily because I'm just going to block things up. If he waits for the Photon Overcharge to run out, then that'll give me plenty of time to like way reinforce this with more Zealot sentries and more buildings to complete the block and reinforce the block. So he really has to just hope that he can break through and run past out of range of the Photon Overcharge into my main or something like that, or like get some probe kills and get something done with this. So he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. The situation for me though is that he is going to break down this wall. The force field's going to run out and the pylon's going to die. So I'm going to need more pylons built here to block this off. Or you could look at, you know, pulling probes to help block it off. Whatever you need to do to hold off until you get another sentry or this one gets back to 50 energy or whatever. So in this case, the smoothest thing to do is to just take this probe or take this probe and build more pylons. Photon Overcharge started right when I got 100 energy, get that extra DPS going. So I go ahead and do a full block. And then this pylon's going to get cancelled because I don't want it to be a full block, but the way this works out, I can just put a pylon here and then I have this little tunnel here all through which one Zealot or one sentry can block Lings. And now the other sentry has come out. This one's going to be back to 50 energy. And everything's about done. I never chrono boosted the warp gate. This is just when it finishes. And so now you're going to have 3 sentries, 3 gates. He obviously has no chance at all. He's going to kill that pylon, I think. No chance at all to break me. And the game now is absolutely over. He is going to let all these Lings die, but even if he doesn't, this is what you do to win the game from here. You don't need to build these gases. This is part of my troll strategy now. For a real strat, and I wouldn't even be chrono boosting this anymore. For the real strat, what you want to do is get out as many Zealot sentry as you can as soon as possible. So you want to be using these 3 warp gates. They're going to be warp gates in a second. The research is done. Constantly. And then chrono boost them if you have some chrono boost. And once you've got, you know, I don't know the exact numbers. You could do maybe 4 warp-in rounds. Just like 3 warp-in rounds. So then that'll be 9 units, plus you already have 4 here. So 13 units total. Leave 1 behind to block. It can either be a Zealot, or you can do a sentry if you're confident that you'll be able to force field before the sentry dies. and then go attack with those 12 units in the mothership core. And even if he has a ton of lings, as long as you're paying attention and you can cast force fields whenever he comes to attack you and try to get us around, you'll be able to kill the lings efficiently. He's not going to have 1-1 or anything. It's going to be 0-0 lings. So you just want to go charge across the map and put pressure. Don't build a proxy pylon because you don't want to be that all in with it. If he wants to defend against this attack, he can. He just has to build a shitload of spines. And he already is low on drones. He already has no tech. And he can't build the spines to defend a third. So he's not going to have a third. He's going to build a shitload of spines at his natural. He won't be fully droned. And his tech will be really slow. He'll have no upgrades coming. He's just going to be super far behind. Or he's going to try to kind of normalize and defend your pressure at the same time, and it's not going to work. So either way, you're either winning the game or you're infinitely far ahead. His main move is going to be to try to backstab you. As soon as you move out, he's going to try to run into your natural. But you're not building a proxy pylon, you're building reinforcements at your base. So even though you leave just one unit behind, you don't have a cannon, and you're bringing your mothership core with you, your reinforcements are going to be built there. You can just build 3 more sentries, and you're impenetrable from these lings. So you're perfectly fine. So either you'll just go kill him, or you'll just be maintaining a big lead. And you just want to, if he does spine up that much, then you can just keep building units. You can get some stalkers in there, and you're going to have a billion force fields. So you can actually force field units out and then pick off spines with your stalkers and just kill him anyway while you're still building probes and while you're teching. You can even take your third. You just want to keep progressing everything kind of normally while putting a little more investment into your army than normal to keep that pressure up. And this should result in a pretty easy win. And yeah, he's going to lose all these. Well, he didn't lose all the lings, but he lost a lot more lings than was necessary. But yeah, no matter how many lings he loses, you still want to do that pressure in any case. Even if he has a huge group of lings out there, then you want to move out as soon as you've built enough units that you feel comfortable to fight those lings. But again, with force fields, he can never get a perfect surround on you. So as long as you, even if you're like in the middle, like right here, and a billion lings come and surround you, so you just want to cast force fields like around your units, like right on your units. And the force fields are going to create situations where like zealots are fighting lings in a 1-on-1 rather than like in a 3-on-1 situation, and that's going to favor you. So you can just go across the map like that pretty safely. This is a cute little thing you can do. This isn't what I was thinking of, but now that it's happened, it's a good thing to comment on. He doesn't know, no overlords have come in. He doesn't know what tech I've gone. Void Ray, if you were going Stargate anyway, this wouldn't be a bad idea. You would have more than one Void Ray at this point, hopefully, if you're doing your build well. But this is certainly a real possibility. And so I make this, and I bring their mothership core, because the mothership core is there to recall the Void Ray out. And I fly this through the tower range. And of course he has a ling here, so he sees this. And then I just fly on over to the side, keep going. Mothership core is just going to swing around, and this is just going to go poof where he can't see it. So now he has to build spores to deal with a Void Ray that's never coming. Now here's the thing that I wanted to point out, and this is just a really general technique too. When you build your third, and you're kind of just gone Zealot Sentry, and you're trying to get your third, and there are lings out there, and there are lings out there, this is how you do it. Always leave one unit behind, always keep this blocked at all times. And build your nexus, and then position your units between the minerals and the nexus. And as long as he's just on lings, this is pretty much unkillable. Again, you have to be quick with your force field reactions, but if you are force fielding in a timely manner, he can't break that. He has to bring roaches to break this. And of course, in this particular game, he doesn't have roaches. And in general, those roaches aren't going to have speed. He has to walk roaches all the way across the map. So he's building them really early, which is hurting his own economy and tech. So this is just a really efficient way and almost guaranteed to hold your third way to position your units. You don't want to leave the units out here. You don't want to like position them here or something. So yeah, this is what you want to do. I'm going for a Colossus drop. This was the fun strat that I wanted to do. And I'm okay with bringing my units out in this particular game. Of course, in every game there's going to be exceptions to the general rule, but I know about how many lings he has. I know how behind he is, so I was okay with trying to pick off some lings and actually being really aggressive. In a normal game, you don't want to go trying to pick off lings. You want to keep them here. You know, keep your units here. So here we go. Let's do a Colossus drop. So Warp Prism has a speed upgrade. It's got +1. GG. And of course you can warp units in here. I only have 3 gates, but this isn't a real strat. I can't make real recommendations about how to do a Colossus drop properly. But just to give you an idea of like how little he had. Of course, he made these spores. The spores were probably like the final nail in the coffin. He had to make all those spores because he saw that Void Ray hallucination. But he had started his third. It's just canceled because he left the game. But yeah, he really had no army. Just imagine if, instead of these spores, if he made spines because I pressured him. These are all the lings he had left. He could have a lot more lings if he suicided less here earlier. But this is just kind of give you an idea of the way the game could have gone, the way it normally goes. If you just build a Zealot Sentry and pressure straight up at his natural. You always want to check the third, make sure he isn't sneaking one by on you, deny that, that's a priority, and then pressure the natural, make him build spines. Alright, so that's it. I know it was a weird game, but it was also a pretty good template to explain the basics of my build and some PvZ tips in general. So I hope you enjoyed and learned something. And check out, see when my stream is live, subscribe to my YouTube channel, get more content like this. Thanks.